Awesome. So we're going to talk today about motivating clients to action. We've had a lot of clients that are sitting on the sidelines right now. And what we want to do is figure out why. Why are they on the sidelines? What information are they getting that is keeping them from moving forward into the market, or keeping them sitting on the sidelines if they were even looking at houses last year? So we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit. So there's 4 objectives to what we want to accomplish here today. And one is, first off, identify the issue. What is the issue that we have? And then second, we're going to try to solve for that issue. And then third objective is to game plan a strategy. And then from there, we're going to implement that strategy, some ways that we can implement that strategy. So first off, we got to identify the issue. So the issue is right now that we have is clients are on the fence. Why are clients on the fence? What's going on with clients if they're on the fence? So we need to figure that portion out and figure out all these guys sitting on the fence right here that's looking out at the ocean. That's like our clients sitting on the fence that's looking out at the housing market. Why are they doing that? Why aren't they diving in? So let's kind of walk through that. So some reasons that they are on the fence. Kevin, why don't you tell me, do you have any reasons why you have clients on the fence?
Yeah, well, over the past 6 months, I've been getting, interest rates. And then, when I talk to people about interest rates right now, I say, well, take a look at a year and a half ago. It wasn't interest rates. It was, I don't want to get into bidding wars, or I don't want to pay 50,000 over asking.
Got it.
Well, right now you're not doing that. Sellers are being more negotiable with credits or fixing things. You're not waiving inspections. And I tell people there's no perfect way to time the market, but a year and a half ago it was, oh, I don't want to get into a bidding war. Well, now you're not into a bidding war, but it's, oh, it's rates.
Right.
So I'm trying to get into that. Well, you can't time the market perfect. You're going to have to give and get.
Exactly. So those are all great points. There's a lot of good reasons that we're hearing the same thing from clients, especially rates. I mean, a lot of concern around rates, a lot of concern around home prices. Are they going to drop? Are they going to, move forward or go higher? So let's take a look at some of the reasons that we're running into. So you hit the nail on the head. Rates is a big one right now in this market. What's going to happen with rates? Where are they heading? Clients are getting a lot of conflicting information out there, especially in the media. Home prices and inventory, that is a huge issue too with clients, because some clients have the thought process that home prices are going to just continue to crash, right? And we're going to talk about that in a second. And then inventory, what's going on with inventory? Is there enough homes out there to sell? And can I find the right, product? I've got a client that I pre-qualified yesterday, or pre-approved yesterday, who's ready to get out on the market, and he's concerned that he's not going to be able to find the right house because the inventory level is so low. So in the area that he's looking at. So these are concerns that clients have. Recession fears is a huge concern for clients right now. How does a recession affect the housing market? If I buy now and a recession happens, what's going to happen? Am I going to lose value? I don't know if this is the right time to buy because of that. Affordability is become a very huge issue with a lot of people. And a lot of times that we can combat that narrative, because affordability is really an issue that shouldn't be an issue, but it's understanding how to confront that issue. And I think that's something that we can help with and we can talk about. Wrong information on the housing market. There is a lot of misinformation out there coming from the media. And so one of the things we need to do is figure out where is that coming from, and why are our clients getting that? Fear is a huge issue in the market right now. Clients are fearful of a lot of things. Am I going to have a job tomorrow? Is the market going to crash? There's a lot of fear out there. And those are some of the things that we need to kind of drill down deep into when we're talking with a client, and not just have surface conversations, but really kind of ask a lot of probing questions to get to that level where that fear is and figure out what that is. And then if we can figure that out, then we have an opportunity to really work with that. Credit issues is another one. We have programs to solve for that. If clients have credit issues, that's one reason they're sitting on the sidelines. There's programs out there that maybe we can get them moving forward now and then work on the credit down the line. So these are some of the things that we're seeing out there, and what Kevin shared with as well. So NerdWallet, which is a website, a financial website that a lot of people go to, did a home buying report for 2023. And it was very interesting. We shared some of this in last week's webinar, but I wanted to kind of go back through this slide. The first three are pretty positive. 83% of those polled said buying a home is a priority to them. That's a big thing. 83% of the people that they polled want to buy a house. That is a positive for us. Nearly 28 million Americans plan to buy a home in 2023, but only 6 million existing homes sold in 2022. So we have an inventory problem, obviously, from that, but we don't have a demand problem. So demand and inventory, if inventory is low and we have high demand, you're not supportive of home prices. So that creates a narrative that changes some of the narrative that we're hearing out there. 70% planned to buy a home in 2022, but did not succeed. Some of them made offers that were not accepted or couldn't find affordable homes. So there's a lot of people that wanted to buy a home in 2022, but didn't buy a home in 2022. So that is a massive opportunity that we need to take advantage of. So we need to understand that there's demand still out there. And the question is, why isn't that demand translating just yet? And what can we do to help drive that demand? So here's where we have the problems. 67% said they expect an imminent housing crash. 67% expect the housing market to crash. That's an information problem. And that's something that we need to be able to get out and combat. 61% told pollsters current mortgage rates are unprecedented, meaning they'd never seen them before. That's huge. I mean, we're at a 7%, we went up to a 7.5%, almost an 8% mortgage rate environment. And 61% of the people they polled said those are the highest rates they've ever seen, that they've never been that high before. And quite frankly, people don't remember that back in the early 80s, rates were 14 to 18%. You know, the 30-year fixed rate has averaged about 7.5% over the last 40 years. So these are not unprecedented rates. We just have an information problem that we need to get out to these people. 57% feel worse about their ability to buy a home in 2023 because mortgage rates will be higher. 57% of the people that they polled think mortgage rates are going up. Now, we've spent the last 4 weeks talking about why we think mortgage rates are going down and providing historical data to prove that. And we think mortgage rates are going to be in the 5% range by the summertime. So again, we have a problem with information coming out of the media in getting out to our clients. And then we need to be able to refocus our clients on and get the facts out to them and share that with them. That's one thing that's going to help them get motivated moving forward. This is an interesting chart. 80% of borrowers have a mortgage rate below 4%. Now, this is something that if we take a look at this chart, and we know that 80% of borrowers, according to JP Morgan's research, NAR, CoreLogic, Black Knight, you combine all that research, it determines that 80% of borrowers have a mortgage below 4%. That kind of combats the narrative that when we talked about before, that we're going to have a housing market crash. Because if we go back to the slide before, 67% said expect an imminent housing market crash. Well, these numbers don't bear that out. People are in 4% mortgage rates or lower, and they have $2.2 trillion of equity that they're sitting on. That's not a recipe for a housing market crash. That's actually a very strong market. And the other thing that we need to think about is a lot of the issue that we're running into right now with the inventory is because we have clients that are in such low rates that they don't want to sell their house and move into a higher rate. So what do? Well, if they're in a rate of 3.5% or lower, maybe we take a look at that and say, well, listen, if you move up, move down, move sideways, we could rent this property out and probably cash flow it. So that's a solution for a client that maybe a client's not thinking about. Sure, go purchase another house, but keep this house and rent it. Now you can cash flow that property because you're in such a low rate. You don't have to get rid of the rate. The other thing too is if they do sell that house, there's an opportunity then to take that equity moving forward. But in order to combat those higher rates, we talked about seller buy down strategies a couple of weeks ago. It's still relevant in this market to do that. Now that may change as the market changes, but right now seller buy down strategies are still a possibility. Get that client into a new property, sell that old house, and then purchase a new property with seller buy down strategy where they have a 2% lower rate for the first year, a 1% lower rate the next year. And as rates are moving down over the next couple of years, we can finance them into a long-term solution that's closer to what their current rate is. So there are some solutions out there. And the other thing we need to think about too is how many clients did you have over the last 2 years that purchased a house and either purchased above the asking price or purchased something quickly, maybe in a neighborhood that they weren't really thinking about purchasing, but needed to get into the housing market and purchased anyway. This next slide that we want to talk about is, this was out of the Scotsman's Guide. It was done by Clever Real Estate. They surveyed people that bought houses over the last 2 years, and here's their regrets. I don't like my home. I don't like my neighborhood. Or my neighbors. I don't like my home's location. I purchased it, sight unseen. I spent too much. I bought too quickly. Point is, if we dial through our databases and talk to clients that purchased in the last 2 years, we may find some clients that have regrets of the home they bought. We may need to help them move from that particular property to a new property. So the point is, even though someone's in a super low rate, there's an opportunity for us to actually maybe work with those clients and move them forward into something else because they do have regrets, but we won't know about those regrets if we're not talking to them. So we need to actually get on the phone and talk to these people. So the next thing is home buyer mortgage payments increased roughly from $1,650 per payment up to $2,323 today. That's about $675 per month. So that speaks to the affordability issue that we talked about before. But what's not in that is wages. So CoreLogic, not CoreLogic, ADP, which is the largest payroll producer, produces about 60 million payrolls annually. They did a survey. In fact, the numbers just came out this morning. The actual pay increase for someone staying in their job was 7.3% year over year. It's 15.4% if they actually switch jobs. So if you take a weighted average of that, it's just over 9% average between those two numbers. So if wages are increasing at about 9% and you have two borrowers that are making $54,000 a year, that's roughly about $9,000 a month. If they got a 9% average raise in a year, that's actually an $810 increase in their income. So that's helping to negate that increase in the price of a home and the mortgage, because we're seeing wages increase at such a rapid rate. So the wage component is something that the clients aren't getting from the media. The only thing they're getting is, mortgage prices or mortgage payments are going up because of rates going up. Now, we also talked about the fact that rates are moving down, right? So as rates move down and income increases, that helps affordability. And when you take a look and extrapolate out the numbers where we think they're going this year, it wouldn't surprise me to see affordability hit 2021 levels, which was very affordable. So the affordability index isn't going in the wrong direction. It's actually going in the right direction as inflation and rates move down and wages continue to increase. So again, these are narratives we got to get back out to our client. So we talked about and identified what the issues are. There's a lot of issues out there. So let's solve for the issue, okay? So one of the things is identifying clients we can help. So what buyers were you working with in the last year who ended up not buying a home due to rates, home prices, or inventory? What clients are you currently working with that aren't moving forward due to recession fears? What homeowners have you talked to in the last year that expressed interest in moving but didn't end up doing anything, whether they're a seller or a buyer? Start thinking about these questions around that. What clients do you have that are misinformed in the housing market? We talked about those statistics, clients that think the housing market's going to crash, housing that thinks the rates have never been this high before, all this negative energy that's out there. in the media pushing a narrative about the housing market that just really isn't true. Think about those clients that are thinking about these things. Then we need to put together a plan to then work and solve and help those clients. So let's identify some solutions. First off, we want to initiate conversations. So outreach and discovery. So the first thing to do is have conversations about this. Doesn't matter where you're at. Initiate a conversation with people and talk to them. If it's past clients, call through your past client database, call through your current client database, and just talk to them. Get an idea of what they're, where are they reading? What are they looking at? Find out the sources of their information. So in other words, do they get their information from CNN on their website, or Yahoo, or social media, or one of these other, large media sites? Where are they getting their information on the housing market? If you can drill that down from a client, then you have an opportunity to monitor that and see what they're putting out. For instance, if someone's following Diana Olick on MSNBC, my goodness, we did a graphic a couple of weeks ago in the home buying seminar that showed that if you would have listened to Diana Olick over the last 7 years, you would have lost out on $222,000 on average in appreciation, because she's so negative on the housing market. So, find out where your clients are going to get their information. And then we have the opportunity to, combat that information with right information, provide education and information using facts. So if you follow my webinars, you know that one of the biggest things I do is put facts together and take a look at graphs and different things, information that's out there. And I can help with that. If you guys need any information on that, I can help put that stuff together for you, because I'm constantly, reading things and looking at things. So provide education and information using facts. That is one way to combat the negative information that's out there. Another solution for you to get this information out to a client is video engagement. So using things such as BombBomb. BombBomb email videos are phenomenal to get information out. You can do a screen share with those, or you can just do a quick video. Social media, utilizing, putting that information on social media, utilizing Instagram Reels and doing short form video, which is something I'm exploring right now, but that's become a very popular thing. Facebook and using FaceTime on Facebook, Facebook Live. Go ahead and a lot of people are utilizing Facebook Live to get information out. Have a YouTube channel or Vimeo channel and start to put information out on that. So there's some information, there's ways to get information out to clients that maybe you're not thinking about using. Log your interactions and conversations. So if you're talking to clients, make sure that you're writing those conversations down and you're taking copious notes on that, because you want to be able to come back to them and get the right information back out to them. So if a client's telling you something very specific, make sure you're taking notes on that, so that when you do go back to them, you have the information there that they need in order to get moving forward. Also, game plan with clients for the future. So if you're talking to a client right now that for a lot of different reasons can't move forward, so maybe they have a health event that they need to get past. That's legitimate. It's not the right time for them to buy. There's a lot of reasons why right now may not be the right time for a client to buy, but what you want to do is we want to put a game plan together for that client and help them and keep in touch with them moving forward. And we can help you with that game plan, and we can help you with the contacts on that. And so as we're moving forward and putting a game plan together, we're keeping in touch with this client at specific intervals and making sure that they know what's going on in the market, that they know when the right time for them to purchase, that we're right there ready for them to move forward. And you can let clients know how we can help. I mean, we can help you help your clients. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later here, but there's a lot of ways that we can help, we can help our clients. So let's game plan a strategy. So we want to create a re-engagement strategy. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we don't really engage with our clients, and we haven't engaged with them in a while. So we need to re-engage with them. So what are some of the ways that we can do that? So the first thing we need to do is create a list of clients that are on the sidelines. Just start with that. The most simplest thing is start to create a list of the clients that didn't purchase in the last 2-3 years. Maybe clients that did purchase, but maybe aren't happy in their situation. Or clients that are sitting on the sidelines right now for whatever reasons, whether it's recession fears or rate fears, as Kevin was talking about, create that list. Start to create that list and put that list together. And then you're going to want to dial through that list. You want to talk to those clients. You want to engage with those clients. Refine your value proposition. So when I talk about value proposition, what sets you apart? Why should someone use you as a realtor? What's different about you that you do for your clients that's different from the other 2 or 3 other realtors that are in your farming area that maybe they know their names of? So what's your value proposition? What do you bring to the table? Okay. That's a really, really important point. And it's something not to be taken lightly. And it's something that you really need to kind of think through, walk through, and kind of really nail down. Okay. There's got to be a reason for a client to move from one agent to you, or to make sure they don't move from you to another agent, more importantly. So make sure you're really walking through your value proposition and refining that. Create interactions and a conversation log. So we talked about that earlier. And so maybe it's as simple as just using a journal, right? Or your CRM, if you have a CRM that you work with, or an Excel spreadsheet. Another thing is I'm diving into Win by Noon. So Win by Noon also has a realtor version of this. And it's something that keeps you on track every single day. Okay. So create some type of log to where you can monitor your interactions and you can track what's going on. So you have some metrics that you can look at. Make sure you're gathering educational materials for clients. I probably read at least minimum 10 articles a week, but probably more likely somewhere between 20 and 30 articles a week about the housing and real estate market. And I save those and I get a lot of information from those. And a lot of times there's sources that I probably wouldn't normally go to, but my clients are going to those. So going back to what we talked about before, find out where your clients are getting their information and read those articles and save those articles and go back through them. Some articles you're going to read and you're going to go, I don't agree with this. This is completely wrong, right? And other articles you're going to go, wow, that's actually pretty spot on. So the point is, educate yourself on what your clients are seeing out there and what they're reading. And the only way that you can help a client kind of get over the hump is to know where they're at mentally and what they're reading and what they're looking at. Okay, so start to gather educational material for your clients. We have a ton of educational material. So if you need something, reach out. Be happy to help you. If you want to put something together, just let me know. We can put some things together for you guys. We have co-branded materials we can do, but ultimately, the point is we want to work together as a team to help you guys. So we'll come alongside. If you need help on that stuff, just let us know. Educational webinars and Zoom meetings. A lot of times you're seeing your clients in person. Of course, you're out showing houses and stuff. As a lender, I work in 42 states right now. So, I don't always see I can't just book a meeting for my client in my office and have a face-to-face with them. So, Zoom meetings are a big thing for us, and could be for you as well. And I would suggest that, just get the free version of the app. If you've never used it before, just learn it, and it would help you out in engaging with these clients and getting to know what's going on with them. Sometimes it's easier to connect on a Zoom meeting with a client initially than it is try to set up a personal meeting. So educational webinars, if you have any time that you want to put together a home buying webinar or some type of webinar to get information out to clients, let me know. I'd be happy to help you with that. If you want me to lead it and present it, be happy to do that as well. So if you guys have 4 or 5 of your colleagues in your office and you guys want to put together a home buying webinar and set that up, let me know. I'd be happy to put it together and lead it for you guys and get that out to you. So we could schedule that. You guys can market it out to your clients. I'd be happy to do that and get information out to your clients for you. Video strategies. We talked a little bit about this before, and that is BombBomb and Facebook Live, short form videos on maybe Instagram Reels, maybe doing a channel on YouTube. Create video strategies. Figure out, how you can get information out. So creating your re-engagement strategy with your clients can encompass a lot of different things. And it really has to be personal to you. In other words, it needs to be a strategy that's going to work for you. If it's not a strategy that works for you, then don't do it. So, if video doesn't work for you, then don't do video, right? But figure out what you can do and what you should do and what you want to do and something that interests you, and make sure you're utilizing that and putting that together in a strategy. The best strategy is one you're going to actually act on and take action on. So make sure that when you're putting your re-engagement strategy together for your clients, that it's something that you're ready to execute and you're excited about executing. So let me talk about some strategies that we can provide coming alongside as a lender. So partnering with us at Neo Home Loans, we have a thing called the Neo Experience. And underneath that is just a wealth of tools that you guys can really dial into, okay? And so just reach out to us and we'll be happy to help you. But let me just kind of walk through some of it. One of them is, a co-opted value proposition. And what do I mean by, I'm sorry, I just switched the screen on you, but what do I mean by co-opted value proposition? Well, you can utilize our value proposition in order to help you with your value proposition. So for instance, when someone asks me, Ken, what do you do for a living? I used to say, well, I'm a mortgage banker. And that either interested them or a lot of times fell flat with them, especially right after the housing market crash. It was probably not a good thing to tell people that you were in the mortgage industry. And it was not a lot of fun to say, oh yeah, I'm in the mortgage industry. So what I tell people now is I'm changing the real estate and mortgage industry. And that's different than saying I'm a mortgage broker. Like, wow, that's kind of interesting. How do you do that? Well, what I tell clients is, well, traditionally a client will go and find a real estate agent and find a lender, and they'll help them purchase a house and finance the home. And, when they get that transaction completed, they'll promise to keep in touch with them. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But, when the client really needs time for help, a lot of times that agent or that lender isn't there, and they're saddled with a house that they're having some issues with, or they're saddled with a ton of debt, because that's typically what happens in our industry. Well, we tried to solve for that. And what we do is we help our clients manage through that after the transaction. So not only do we do those things, we help clients purchase a house and finance a house, but after the fact, we make sure that we put together a valuable program for them to help them manage that house, because that is typically their largest asset and their largest debt. And that debt and that asset needs managing. And so we help them manage that. So one of the things we do is through technology and through just through personal touch. We have a concierge that we work with, and we help our clients manage through that particular home. So we help them create wealth, reduce debt, manage their equity. Overarching goal on all that is to help them create wealth through real estate. And that's what we do. We help them manage and create wealth in their real estate. That's a different value proposition than, hey, that's a different thing than just saying, hey, I'm a mortgage broker. Now you guys can take a version of that and craft it on your own and co-opt that to say, yeah, instead of saying I'm a realtor, say, you know what? I'm changing the real estate and mortgage industry. Well, how are you doing that? Well, I've got partners that I work with, and here's what we're doing. So you can craft and co-opt that if you guys want to use that. So one of the things we do is pre-purchase consultations. We're going to go through this next week, and it's really important. when we talk to a client up front, we do a couple of things. We do discovery calls, or what we call dreams and goals calls, to kind of deep dive with the client and get all the information that we need to make sure that we're helping them and we're putting them in the right positions. We also do pre-purchase consultations after we get them pre-approved, but we can also do those for clients that aren't ready for pre-approval. In a pre-purchase consultation, we take a deep dive with them into what's going on in the market, how we can help them, some examples of home ownership and what it could look like for them. Where's the market heading? Post-closing, here's what we do to help you. We go through a lot of different things in the pre-purchase consultation that puts a client's mind at ease. And a lot of times that pushes them forward into saying, you know what, maybe now is the right time to buy. I thought I needed to wait, but I don't think I need to wait. Maybe now's the right time. So that's a strategy that we can utilize to help getting these clients off the fence. The Bulletproof Buyer Program is something that we can provide, and you guys can co-opt that as well. And what that does is it makes sure that we're putting the client in the best position. So when their offers out there, they can compete with a cash offer. So when sellers and listing agents are looking at offers, typically we can help them rise to the top of the stack because we're putting together through what's called our Bulletproof Buyer Program. We'll go through that in a later webinar, but that's one of the things that we utilize. Contract meetings. So this is something that I don't think any other lender does. Okay. So the most stressful time for a client is when they go under contract. Why is that? Well, because they sign a contract with the seller, they come to an agreement, and all of a sudden now escrow is about to get opened. And as soon as that happens, everything starts moving fast for the client. They've got to wire hundreds of thousands of dollars thousands of dollars to escrow for down payments and all these other different things. They've got escrow people calling them, title people calling them, inspections to set up, lenders, loan coordinators, transaction coordinators, realtors. All these people are coming at the client at really light speed because now we're under contract and now we've got timelines. So within 24 hours of going under contract, we schedule the contract meeting with the client, and on a Zoom call, it's usually myself, my loan coordinator, the client, and hopefully the realtor involved as well. And what we do is we walk through that contract and we go through every aspect of it. And we make sure the client knows what the terms are, what the times are, what the contingencies are, what the timeframes are. When we help them make sure they get the right information about wiring their money to escrow and when that needs to happen. So that puts the client at ease of knowing that the whole team is working as one and making sure that everything goes smoothly for the client. It's at that time too, we set up our clients with an app to help them organize their move. That's something that no other lender does, because moving, believe it or not, is the third most stressful thing a client can do behind death and taxes. That was a Harvard study that was done, by the way. So there was death, taxes, and moving were that was the third most stressful thing in a client's life. So we solve for that by helping them organize their move, and all that happens into the contract meeting. We also have our home concierge service. So post-closing, we schedule a post-closing call, and we make sure that we set them up with an application that helps them manage their whole house. So they can put all their documentation into that website. They can have their warranties for their appliances in there, their paint colors. If they want to do renovations, they can kind of plan those renovations, and there's actually vetted vendors in there for contractors that they can utilize for that. Everything is in this app to manage their house. And so at the end of it, you can create a report on the house of everything that they have in there for the buyer, the next buyer of the house. They can print out a report for that. So like a Carfax for their house. So we have our home concierge service. We have a monthly wealth digest that we put our clients into that you guys can actually take part in. So if you want, as a realtor, if you want to be part of this monthly wealth digest, just let me know. We'll get you set up as a realtor, and your clients and your database can get this as well. Now, when you do it, when we set you up, it will come to the client with your branding, and they won't see me on it at all, and unless they click on maybe you wanted to look at a refinance or something of that nature. But the great thing about the Wealth Digest is it goes out and gives them information about their house, what their equity position is, all kinds of monthly information. The great thing about it is it's got a 75% open rate. every month when that email goes out, 75% of the people open it. I mean, I'm not sure if you're doing follow-up programs, but I'm pretty sure that if you are, you're not getting a 75% open rate on the follow-up program that you're doing. It's an amazing tool that you guys can take advantage of. And if you want to be part of that, just let me know and we can show you how to download your database into that. So the next strategies we can provide is our client success team. So when we close a loan, again, we have the post-closing call, we introduce our client success manager, and that person reaches out to the client for 5 times over the first year and then schedules annual reviews with the clients. It's basically a homeowner's concierge. And we do this on your behalf as well. So if the client has any questions on the home they just purchased, then we can help them. They can reach out to us. They can reach out to the client success manager with any questions. Maybe they have an issue with their insurance or something of that nature. Again, that's why we're there. That's why we have a client success manager for every single one of our clients, is to help them become a successful homeowner and have a personal point of contact, a person that they can reach out to. We also have a purchase perfect mortgage promise, meaning that we are always going to manage, we're going to put their mortgage under management and their home under management. And no matter what changes in their life, we're going to be reaching out to them with opportunities to make sure that they're in the right mortgage at the right time. We also have a database engagement program. And again, this is something you guys can take advantage of as realtors with your database. It lets us know when clients have a significant life event. Maybe they have a death or a marriage or a birth, or there's a number of different things that it looks for that it can look out for a client. And it gives us some tools that we can look at. So when those things happen, we can reach out to those clients. So we get alerts on those things, especially if they listed their property or maybe they had their credit run. So we help engage with our database by making sure that we're constantly watching what's going on with our clients. And then we can reach out to them, see if there's something we can do to help them. So complimentary list reports membership. If you're not using list reports as a realtor, you should. And you can't just go sign up for it as a realtor. You have to work through a lender to do that. I'd be happy to give you guys a complimentary list report membership. All you got to do is let me know. I'll get you guys set up. And then it will print out a whole marketing program for you guys. So for instance, if you have a listing, it will pull from the MLS where you're at, and it will within 5 minutes create not only a listing, anything for your listing, but also open house marketing materials. So a whole marketing program, whole marketing platform for anything that you got going on. And the great thing about it is if you're aligned with a national lender or broker such as Keller Williams or Compass or Century 21, it's got their color SKUs already in it. So it looks like it's skewed to your marketing team. So list reports is a great thing. If you need marketing material for anything you've got going on, we can help you with that. And then we have a co-branded phone app. So the great thing about the phone app is it's co-branded and it's your branding. So the client's going to see you, going to see your logo. I'll be secondary on it, but it allows the client to have access to calculators. They can do a loan application. They can upload their documents, a lot of information in that app. Again, that's something that we do complimentary. So the whole point of walking through all this is just to let you know as realtors, the support that we provide for you. Okay. And it's there for you for the taking. And this, again, can help you with these clients that are sitting on the fence, because these are tools that you can utilize to get them moving forward. So now we got to talk about implementing the strategy. So one of the things you want to do in implementing a strategy is set a time frame to call clients. So make sure you set a due date on this, a deadline. The last thing you want to do is just kind of let that linger out there. If you have a deadline, if you're going to dial through your database or you make a list of clients you need to contact, make sure you put a deadline there as to when you're going to do it to make sure you get it done. Okay. Time block or schedule. Okay. So one of the most important things you can do is do it in the morning, block everything out. You know, one of the things that I'm utilizing Win by Noon, and one of their core tenets is in the morning, set aside time to work on your business and shut everything else off. and you're doing outbound calls. Okay, so that could be a 2-hour time block, whatever it may be. But the point is, you're reaching out and you're working on your business, and you're blocking everything else out on your schedule, and you do it same time every single day. Okay. So time blocking your schedule can be a huge thing in implementing your strategy. Engage your list of identified clients. So if you've started, putting that list together, this is where you want to engage with them and have those conversations. Find out what's going on with them. Find out why they're on the sidelines. Identify their issue. Drill down. Make sure you go deep into your conversations with them. Communicate your value proposition to them. So this is where your value proposition and putting that together becomes so important, because you want to make sure that you're setting yourself apart from your peers out there. So drill down and make sure that you really put together a solid value proposition. There's a lot of things you can take advantage of, including some of the things that we're doing. So take advantage of that. Take our value proposition and co-opt that and put that together with yours and utilize it. Schedule a pre-purchase consultation. If they want to see what it looks like for them in this market, maybe re-engage, we'd love to put together pre-purchase consultation with you and your client, and we'll lead that. And then, but hopefully by the end of that, we'll get them moving forward and get them off the fence. In the chat, I put my Calendly link in there that you can just go ahead and book those times. So if you have a client that wants to do a pre-purchase consultation, you can schedule it right through there on your own with that client. So you've got them on the phone, say, hey, how about Thursday at 3:00? Would that work for you? Yeah, that would work. Put it into my calendar. It'll time block that time off for me. And then we'll reach out beforehand and make sure that we're on the same page as what we're doing. And then we'll go ahead and get that Zoom call set up and maybe, and do that pre-purchase consultation. So you can just schedule that. You don't even have to call me. You can just schedule it directly. So we also want to create a follow-up protocol. So if the client doesn't move forward, or you get their phone, their voicemail or whatever it may be, make sure you have a follow-up protocol. So you're constantly coming back to that client. You don't want to just make one phone call and finish and let it be, that's the end of it, right? Make sure that you're following up with your clients in a follow-up protocol. If they're ready now, we can put them into application and pre-approval, get them into the underwriting department, actually do a pre-approval, a true pre-approval with an underwriter, underwriting their income, their assets, their credit. That way they're ready to go. And the only thing we need to take a look at is their is the collateral of the property, the appraisal of the property. And the great thing about that is when we have that conversation with listing agents about how you qualify this client, we can let them know we actually ran them through underwriting. They're ready to go. That will lead to a very smooth process. We do that with every client. Not ready to do something now? We'll, again, game plan for the future. Put a plan of action together for the future for that client that we can execute and walk that client through and say, this is what we're going to do. And not only this is what we're going to do, but actually do it. Okay. So again, the main thing is take action. Okay. Just take action. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be completely dialed in. The main thing is just start moving forward so you can get your clients moving forward. So last thing I wanted to talk about is just our process and how we do it. So you guys can utilize this on your own. I mean, we have a very simple 4-step process, and I'm just going to walk you through it real quick. And you guys can utilize the same process and again, co-opt this to your own. So the first one is discovery. So we need to learn about you so we can understand your financial situation, long-term goals before we prescribe a great mortgage strategy. So that's kind of what we put together in our discovery portion. You guys can change that. You can take discovery and change it to whatever it means for you. So you can rewrite that situation. But the main thing is discovery, right? So the step 1 is discovery. Step 2 is strategy. In this case, as lenders, we're going to analyze our mortgage options with competitive costs and greatest prosperity potential for you and your family. We'll present you with a total cost analysis, a digital and easy to read breakdown of your mortgage options. As a realtor, that's going to be obviously something very different for you, but whatever strategy you have for your client, you can utilize that. So Step 2 is strategy. Step 3 is execution, right? So not only do we want to have discovery for that client and then strategy, now we need to execute for that client. So when they're under contract, we'll create a flawless home loan experience for you. If you're in a highly competitive market, we'll position you to close your loan as quickly as possible. And then finally, wealth maximization. So this is the post-closing portion of it. This is what we do after the client is done and purchases a house. And we like to tell people 1% of what we do is pre and in escrow situations, right? So before escrow, getting together the pre-approval, in escrow, getting them through escrow and purchasing their home, that's about 1%. 99% of what we do is after they close on their loan. So again, you can take these 4 steps and utilize those for yourselves, or you can even change it. It doesn't have to be wealth maximization. It could be something completely different. But the point is, it's an easy 4-step process, right? You guys can utilize that and capitalize on that. The last thing I want to talk to you guys about is this graph. So the average home sold for 97.8% of the final list price here in 2023. It's a 4-week rolling average of sales price to list price ratios for sold homes. So when we take a look at where we're at in 2020, in 2022 here, or this should be 2023, sorry, January 22nd of 2023. You can see that homes are selling for 97.8% of the list price. So a little bit under list, most homes are going. And you can see in 2022, it was up to 2.5%. In 21, it was up to about 1.5% over list price. And then in 20, it was a little bit under list price. The point about this, and this was skewed due to COVID, okay? And this is why we don't, if COVID hadn't happened, this graph would probably look more like the red and the blue graphs. But here's the point. Every year it's the same pattern, right? Every year it's the same pattern. So we're hitting into January and February. We're probably going to see, prices under list for this up to this portion. And when March hits in April and May, look what happens. These things tend to drive up. So we're going to see the same pattern today as rates move down, demand's going to increase, and that is going to drive appreciation. And that is going to drive multiple offers, and that's going to drive these graphs as we see it here. In other words, we're not going to see under list for very much longer moving forward in the months ahead, especially as inflation drops down and rates drop down. So it's the same pattern. We have a golden opportunity right now in today's market at this point in time to help our clients, especially those sitting on the fence, to get something moving forward quickly before we see demand increase and before we see prices increase on homes. So that's the end of the presentation. Here's my contact information. Next week, we are going to go into motivating clients to action part 2. And in that, we're going to talk about the pre-purchase consultation. There's going to be some scripting we're going to go around. So there's some more information we want to work on in motivating clients to action. So we're going to actually go through that next week and kind of build upon what we talked about today. Any questions? Kevin, do you have any questions?
No, good. That was all really good information.
Awesome. So next week, again, we're going to have motivating clients to action part 2. If you guys know of anybody that could utilize these strategies or should utilize these strategies, get them on the call. We've got a very short time frame before the market starts to really take off and get crazy, which is going to be great for all of us. But right now we have an opportunity to help clients that maybe we're sitting on the sidelines, and we have a unique opportunity. And now's the time to do that, is to get them moving forward right now. So if you know of anybody any other realtors that could use this information, pass it along to them and then invite them on to next week's webinar. So I want to thank you guys so much. Appreciate every single one of you. And we'll see you guys next week on the call, and we'll talk to you guys soon.